Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, and welcome to the Vicarage. And thank you for joining us this morning for our Bible study for today from the Gospel of Luke. Hope this finds you well, and it's great to have you with us this morning. Don't forget, as I keep saying, to please share these messages so other people can enjoy them and other people can know that you're watching them too, and that will be great. But we are in what Luke, you might call Luke's Gospel the Sermon on the Plain, or in Matthew's Gospel, you might call it the Sermon on the Mount. Anyway, the Beatitudes, and we started them yesterday and we go on for them today. So here goes. For this one, you're going to need to put your hard hat on, your flat jacket on. Really challenging words, these one. But here we go. So it's Luke's Gospel, chapter 6 even. Luke 6, starting to read at verse 27. Here goes. I'll try and explain it afterwards. Jesus said, "But I say to you that listen, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other one also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you'd have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those that love them. If you do good to those that do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies. Do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you'll be children of the Most High. And for he is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you'll be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give, with the measure you get back." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Okay, I think the first thing to acknowledge is these are incredibly challenging words. I mean, you could discuss these, meditate on these for days and days and days. I think it has to be recognised first that these are hard and challenging words. So, and I'm also very aware that I'm not going to give you all the answers this morning, but I'm going to try and help you out a bit here. Firstly, let's just think of things that we do know. Firstly, he says here, love your enemies. And I think we have to define love a bit here. Love clearly is not referring to some sort of act of feeling or some sort of feeling. We don't have to have squidgy feelings about everybody. I mean, you can help what we do, but we cannot help how we feel about something. Okay, we're surely not being commanded by Jesus here to have nice feelings about everyone. We're not going to like everyone the same, and there's some people who are, not very likable at all. So I think we have to recognise first that when Jesus says love your neighbour, he's not talking about a feeling here. He's talking about an act of will. So it's about what we do. So he's not talking here about how we feel about somebody, We're not called to be in love with everybody, or you know what I mean. We're not called to have nice feelings about somebody. But what we're talking about here is an act of will. So it's what we do. And I think that's the first thing we have to recognise. Okay. Now, all sorts of explanations have been given. So, for example, turning the other cheek. So if someone strikes you on the right cheek, if you're a right-handed person, it's been pointed out that it's a backhander rather than a punch. So it could be argued that it's more of an insult as opposed to an act of violence. There's been that said. All manner of explanations have been given. But I think at the end of the day, we have to recognise that these words are incredibly hard and challenging. So let's firstly think in the eyes of God. It says here, this is a very important verse here, in verse 36, beg your pardon, verse 35, it says, "Children of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked." Okay, so it's kind of important to recognise that when it rains in Penn, it rains on everyone's garden, both the good, the bad, the nice, horrible. When it's sunny in Penn, it's sunny on everybody, and everyone gets it. And actually, God is kind to everybody. And God is not just kind to nice people, God is kind to horrible people as well, okay? And God is kind to us all the time, whether we've been good or whether we've been bad. Actually, at the end of the day, friends, if God punished us for everything we've ever done, then we'd never stand, would we? okay? And God is kind to everybody, all right? So I think we have to recognise that God is kind to everyone, both the good, the bad, the nice, horrible. So actually, if God has been kind to us, so we are kind to other people. And if God is kinder to us than we deserve, then we in turn should be kinder to other people than they deserve too. And I think that's kind of the outpouring of this. I think what it's about, and I think we can get into difficulty if we're trying to over-specify it too much. I think what this passage about what Jesus is saying here is we have to be like God in the sense that we have to be kinder to people than we would otherwise be if we weren't Christians. Let's put it like that. That our faith should mean that because God has been kind to us, that we should be kinder than we would otherwise be. So, for example, as a church, we give away 10% of everything we get. It's about £11,000. It's a lot of money. We could do a lot of good with that. But in the church. But actually, we choose to be in response to God's goodness. We choose to be generous in return. It's some mark of recognition of God's generosity to us. And actually, when people treat us badly, I think it's about, for example, not exacting revenge in the way it'd otherwise be. It's about, even though forgiveness is hard, recognizing that it's an ideal. I think it's about, what I'm trying to say is, I think it's about being kinder to people than we otherwise would be. I think in the way that God has been kind to us, so we are kind to other people. I remember a few years ago, I upset somebody very much, and this person was going for me, really going for me, and we all got very complicated, a bit legal and everything else. But I made the decision that at no point was I going to ever try and exact any revenge. I wasn't going to make life any more difficult for this person, and I wasn't going to take any revenge on that person. And it's about when people have hurt me, it's the importance of not taking revenge. It's about being kinder to other people than we would otherwise be if we haven't got faith. Let's put it like that. And I think that's what he means about turning the other cheek. When people are horrible to us, or we could be horrible back, it's about making a decision to be kinder than we'd otherwise be. It's about, as people, being more generous than we'd otherwise be. It's about thinking better of people than we otherwise would. It's about being kinder than we'd otherwise. Does that make sense? And I think that's what he's talking about here. So the first is to recognise it's not talking about kind of feelings, it's talking about an act of will. Secondly, it's about recognising that God has been kind to us, kinder to us than we deserve, and is kind to everybody, good and bad, and all of us, whether in our good and bad moments, God is kind to us. And because of that, we should be kinder to other people than we would otherwise be. And I think we have to we spend a lifetime working out what that means. But he goes on at the end to talk about judgment. And I think this, again, picks up on the point about God, who is kind to everyone, both the good and the bad. And that actually, the thing with judgment is, as you say, when you point one finger at someone, you point three fingers back at yourself. And I think actually, as I said earlier on, God is kinder to us than we deserve. And actually, if God remembered against us and punished us for everything, every bad thing, every bad thought, every bad word, every bad deed, then we'd all be in trouble. And we only are what we are by the grace of God. God is only kind to us because God wants to be kind to us, not because of anything we deserve. And because God's been kind to us, we need to make sure that, that we are not judgmental of other people. And we want God to think well of us. So we in turn should make an effort not to be judgmental of others. That doesn't mean that we don't pass judgment about things. I mean, it's right that we have a good, strong sense of right and wrong. But in terms of other people, as we want God to be kind to us, we in turn ought to be kind, not just in what we do, but also in the way we think about people, the way we talk about people, not to judge others. Because, as I say, if God judged all of us, we'd all be in serious trouble. We only are what we are by the grace of God. And if we want God to be kind to us, we need to be kind to other people too. As I said, I feel this morning I've merely scratched the surface of this incredibly complicated, difficult, immensely challenging passage. But I think we learn from it, as I say, that the command to love here is not some kind of romantic feeling thing. It's about an act of will. I think it's about recognising that God has been kinder to us than we deserve. Because we've been God's been kind to us, we need to be kinder to other people than we'd otherwise be. That's what it means, I think, by being, turning the other cheek and so on, being kinder than we'd otherwise need to be. But not just in that sort of thing, but also in terms of the way we think about other people. That, not, if we want God to be kind to us despite what we've done, we need to be careful about the way we think about other people. Because as Jesus said, judge not, lest ye be judged. As I say, toughie for today. Hope that makes some sense.